Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today, let's go ahead and discuss the brand new fragrance by the company Giorgio Armani, and this one is called Armani Code Absolu, so make sure to stay tuned. So I know this fragrance was released a few months ago. Today's date is September 6th. And so I'm filming this video. I'm hoping you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching my video. Please remember to subscribe if you're new to this channel, and I would really appreciate that. So the company Giorgio Armani, they have a lot of fragrances out there. Of course, some of the more popular new ones, I guess you could say, are like Stronger With You Intensely, but also the women's counterpart. But we can't forget Armani Code. Armani Code was one of their original staples. I personally have a bottle of it that I purchased many years ago, and of course there are also a lot of flankers for Armani Code, and I feel as though they're kind of keeping in line with what they're doing in their Acqua di Gio series. And so they're releasing a Profumo, they're releasing an Absolu, and this one is the Absolu version of it. They also had a Colonia version, which is in a blue bottle, so the blue is supposed to sort of evoke a lighter, fresher smell, and it was a lighter, fresher iteration of Armani Code. And this one kind of has this gold hue to it. Now, this one, in my opinion, is the sweetest of them all. So this one is a bit sweeter, to my nose at least, than Armani Code Profumo. Although I think there are times when the two are balanced, but this one has the inclusion of some other notes and also the exclusion of some notes that were found in Profumo, like some of the spices and the cardamom and whatever else. Although I still find an aspect of this one to be still on the spicy side. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about what I think about this one in terms of the smell. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the presentation. So the box for this one looks quite similar to other Armani Code fragrances you might have seen. It just says Armani Code Absolute at the top, Parfum Pour Homme down at the bottom. And on the very bottom, you can see the serial number punched into the box in the upper right-hand corner. That's if you're looking to authenticate your purchase. The bottle for this one has a gold coloration here in the front. It's a hue that goes from being opaque at the top to transparent at the bottom. And the cap for this fragrance does click into place very securely. You can pick it up from the cap, but please note that I've had issues with other Armani Code fragrances in the past where the cap kind of loses its strength a little bit and it no longer clicks into place as securely. So just take note of that. And there's also a sticker at the bottom with the serial number printed on it in white. The distribution on the atomizer is nice and wide. Let's continue with the smell. Now, as soon as this one opens up, you are definitely going to get hints of the original Armani Code. So Armani Code kind of has this olive leaf and tobacco vibe going on in there, and I always found it to be one of the classier scents from Armani. I think something like Acqua di Gio is very lighthearted and fresh and citrusy with that jasmine and the lime, and it's just something that people would want to wear on a casual level, not really putting too much thought into their fragrance selection, if I could put it like that. This one, on the other hand, always struck me as the kind of scent that you would wear when you're dressed up a little bit, attending a formal scenario. It kind of had that vibe, a little bit like the maturity scale or the level on the maturity scale was increased somewhat. And I think that with this one, it's slightly decreased. And I say that because whenever sweetness is added to fragrances, it almost kind of makes them a little bit more youthful, a little bit more playful, a little bit more laid back, as in they're not taking themselves too seriously. And I do find that to be the case with the vanilla and the tonka bean that are utilized in this blend. So the vanilla that's in here, it's not overly gourmand, so I really am having a hard time classifying this as a gourmand fragrance. I don't think it is. I think that there are a lot of other fragrances, especially like Stronger With You. That one is much sweeter than this one is, and this one also kind of has like a chocolatey vibe underneath everything else, kind of puts it in the wheelhouse of like a Hugo Boss The Scent Private Accord. So I think that while the sweet elements are found in this fragrance, it's not overly sweet to the point where it's a gourmand. I do get a little bit of that tonka bean thing going on in here, also paired up with that olive leaf and sort of tobacco vibe that you get from the original. Now, I know that this particular flanker was composed by Antoine Maison-Dieu. Antoine Maison-Dieu is certainly one of these perfumers. If you've taken a look at his work for fragrances like Etat Libre d'Orange or Comme des Garçons, he's certainly not afraid to push the boundaries. I don't think that there's anything about this one that's challenging, however, but I do like how some of the notes utilized in here still keep in line with that Armani Code DNA, but reinvent it in such a way that it goes in a different direction without necessarily being uprooted or losing its tradition. And so I kind of like it for that reason. This is, in my opinion, an Armani Code that can be worn also when you're dressed up, but also when you want to convey a little bit of sensuality. I do find it to be classy. I do find it to be rather masculine and elegant, but I don't think it's as elegant or formal as the original. It's kind of compared to like Profumo, because I know Profumo also utilizes a lot of sweet undertones and midtones, and this one, perhaps being a little bit sweeter, comes across as a little bit more playful and a little bit more sensual. And so I think in order of them being appropriate for like dressed up scenarios, I think the original sits at the top, then Profumo, then this one, and then Colonia is probably way down at the bottom because of how casual of a scent it is. In terms of Armani Code, I always enjoyed the scent. You know, it's one of those fragrances where, you know, I have a lot of really fond memories. My brother used to wear it as well, and I still wear it to this day. But it's one of those fragrances that, you know, there's only so much you can do with it, in my opinion. And so I'm kind of happy to see that Armani is keeping a nice balanced sort of progression of their scents, and they're not just focusing on one particular heavy hitter or one particular successful release to capitalize on that. And I think that it's a nice balance among their entire fragrance library. Ultimately, I really like this scent. I find this to be a nice iteration of the Armani Code franchise. I like that they kind of took it in a sweeter direction. Definitely something that would appeal to a consumer base that's a little bit younger. But all in all, I think it's a nice sweet take on the Armani Code DNA without it being a gourmand. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, this is a flanker, so we kind of have to take that for what it's worth. It's not going to be totally unique because it is a play off of an original DNA. However, I do like the smell of this one, and there's certainly enough of a differentiation between this one and the original to warrant a purchase. So if you like the original, that's not to guarantee that you're going to like this one. So you definitely have to put your own nose on it before coming to that final verdict. But I do think that there are far more similarities between this one and Profumo. So if you currently have Profumo, I would probably wait until your bottle runs out, and then you can purchase this one just to add a little bit of variety to your fragrance library. In terms of the longevity on this one, I got about 5 hours, so the longevity wasn't spectacular, but given the concentration, I kind of expected it to be in that wheelhouse. Projection was great for the first hour and a half to 2 hours, didn't become a skin scent until that 4 to 4.5 hour mark. I mean, you might have some good days, you might have some bad days, but I can see this one working really well in the fall, which is the season that we're about to enter. So I'll be wearing this one a bit more in the coming months. In terms of versatility, I already tackled seasons, I already tackled occasions. I think this one can be best worn formally or semi-formally. If you're looking for something to wear casually, I'd probably go with Colonia. That's definitely one of the lighter offerings from this house. And this is marketed for men. I do find that it leans masculine a bit, but if you're a lady and you like the smell of vanilla, then, don't let the label discourage you. And last up, in terms of the presentation, I kind of like the gold accents and the hue and the coloration that's on the bottle. My final verdict on this one is, if you are a fan of sweeter type scents, but you're kind of tired of the whole 1 million thing, that overly sweet sort of bubblegum juicy fruit thing that's going on in those types of scents, and you're looking for something that's a bit more masculine, bit more refined, bit classier, and you're not going to smell like those super sweet types of scents, and something that's not as youthful, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. It has enough of that sweetness to satiate, but it also has enough of that maturity in there so that you feel good when you wear it, you feel comfortable wearing it, and you don't feel like your masculinity is being compromised in any way. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Armani Code Absolu, released this year in 2019. If you own or have tried this fragrance, I would love to know what you think. Please leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe if you would like to support this channel. And if you took something of value from this video, all you have to do is click that red button in the corner. And this way, whenever I do upload future videos and fragrance-related content, it'll get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about having to search up my name all the time and stuff like that. It just facilitates the process, makes things that much easier. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.